The first part of this practice is going to be visual, so I'd love for you all to stay upright if you are able to and keep your eyes open if you feel comfortable to. If you'd like to forego that and really honor your body in a posture of rest, know that that is absolutely okay. I fully support it. Just know that you're going to miss something visual if you do that. So, with that, let's chime in. Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. And I'd like to set the intention for our practice today with this beautiful little sentiment of metta. This one reads, "May you practice compassion. May you practice compassion." And that's actually the perfect definition for our practice today, because we are going to talk about attachment, which is the theme for the month of November. And the way I'd like to illustrate attachment is with a couple of candles and a match and another candle, and then all of the candles that you see on the Gary altar. This is a teaching called First Flame by Thich Nhat Hanh. And one of the things that I want to say about sharing this teaching is that I have not received transmission culturally by a Tibetan Buddhist to teach these things. I am simply practicing what the Buddha taught, which is confidence in wise understanding, wise intention, wise speech, all the elements of the Noble Eightfold Path, to take this wisdom and to make it come alive in me. So, and that's what we're all called to do, is how are these incredibly relatable Dharma ideas alive in you? How can you make them come to life in you? And so this is my interpretation of this as it relates to recovery, as it relates to each of us, and as it relates to the concept of attachment. One of the things that Thich Nhat Hanh is very famous for having taught in a very mindful way is the concept of no self, as well as interconnection and interbeing. And what he would teach very simply is that you as a human being, me as a human being, are made up of non-human being things. And that is just something to consider. And the reason is because we have this tendency to define ourselves by this body, this physical presentation, the labels we have for ourselves, the stories we have for ourselves. And all of it can be true. And none of it is the whole truth. Because the whole truth of it is that you are comprised of all of those very human experiences and so much more. So Thich Nhat Hanh begins his first flame idea and this concept of we are manifestations of varying conditions with a match. So this piece of wood and a piece of, it's dipped, the end is dipped in whatever matches are. Is it a sulfur, phosphorus kind of a thing? And then another condition is this coarse piece of paper, this coarse sand gritty piece that will create some friction when I strike this. Actually, I'm not going to strike it. I'm just simply going to put some pressure on this and slide it across. So what's going to happen is a flame will appear, but the flame doesn't just come out of nowhere. It manifests due to all of these conditions. You have not appeared out of nowhere. You are the manifestation of a number of conditions since beginningless time. So here's that flame. First flame. Oh, that went out. That's fun. That's good. The conditions of that. What's that all about? Look at that. Here's another flame. First flame, same conditions. And I tipped it so that the flame would get a little bit bigger, right? So we can recognize ourselves in this match, in this flame, by recognizing that we are all, each of us, the manifestation of various conditions. When I add this flame to a candle, this candle, by the way, was made by Lo. And we've now created a second flame. And the thing about this second flame is that it is by itself a flame, but one of its conditions is it is connected to first flame. So the second flame contains the first flame, and should the second flame go out, just as it did, it continues to live in that second flame. Without the first flame, this second flame would not be. And if we were to take another condition and light it, now we have a third flame. And this third flame also contains the first flame and the second flame, and now this flame. All of this coming together, friends, because I want to emphasize that we are so much more than the stories we tell ourselves, than the perceptions that we have of ourselves. It's one of the reasons why labeling ourselves as addicts, as alcoholics, and so on, has its limits. It may serve a purpose for a period of time, but we have to maintain a degree of curiosity to wonder, in what way is this label no longer serving me? In what way is this label actually false? In what way is this label too limiting because it's inhibiting me from remembering that, yes, I have a negative relationship to a substance, and I also have positive relationships with all of these other things. I'm so much more than the problems and the consequences that have occurred in my life. One of the things that I love about thinking about these flames, let me kind of bring them into the view a little bit so you can see this beautiful candle, is one of the perceptions, one of the distortions that many of us have on the journey of recovery is we feel alone. We have created the conditions for that maybe. We've isolated, we have burned bridges, we have participated in creating conditions with relationships that have fallen apart. All of that is true. And none of it is the whole truth. Because the whole truth is, even should our flame go out, and we feel alone, and we feel in the dark, and those feelings are real. This is where the Buddha taught us about the jewel, the illuminating jewel of Sangha. All we have to do is tap into Sangha, tap into a flame, and we will be lit anew. right? And so, one of the things about waking up to our stories, waking up to our mental formations, and getting curious about them in a gentle and compassionate way, and maybe even shifting our relationship to them, is our look at this, look at how it's dividing into two flames in the one. Yeah, it's just magical, right? The whole invitation here is to share your light. You notice that by me sharing this light, my light doesn't diminish, it increases because there's more light to be had. And so when we can remember to tap into community, to tap into somebody else's light, and to regain that light, we get stronger by sharing it, lighting the way for one another. And so today we're going to light all of these candles for each of us here, friends that are out there who may be lost in darkness. And so I'd like to take a moment and just have you gaze at this light as your practice and quietly contemplate your own light, the light within you that has been there since beginningless time. It has gone out, it has been relit. In what ways do you share your light? In what ways do you doubt your light? In what ways can you access light, the conditions of light? It doesn't even have to be another person, friends. The Buddha considered Sangha, the trees, the flowers, the cathedrals of the forests, the melodies of the rivers, the roar of the sea. There are many ways to tap into your light. Thich Nhat Hanh encourages us to consider the manifestation of first flame within all of our light, and fire as an element is intentional, because fire is both a life source and a source of destruction. Its destructive power can be very healing because it can burn away afflictions, distortions, aversions, making space for the fertility of growth. You are the manifestation of thousands and thousands and thousands of flames. Have the courage to share your light. we'll end our practice today with some words of Thich Nhat Hanh, who was very famous for saying things like, "Hello, darling little flame. I see you. What do you want to show me? Hello, darling little flame. I'm here to listen to you. What do you have to say?" This very simple reflective practice is about illuminating our attachments, helping us be curious, and really putting a fire in our compassionate heart space to heal the mind and its attachments. Oh, friends, attachments. As we go into our evening, remember the propensity that we have in the mind to make everything dualistic. Having attachments is bad, not having attachments is good. And that is true and not the whole truth, right? So there are healthy attachments. There are ways to have healthy attachments. I just think one of them that gets in the way, I remember when I was first studying this, I kept thinking, well, I'm attached to my family. What about kids? I'll be really attached to my kids. And that's absolutely true. And we want that. We want those healthy attachments, those healthy relationships. Where we're tested is when our kids grow up or when things happen, when our kids die, when our parents die, when life doesn't go the way we think it should or the way we thought. And that's when the rubber meets the road. That's when we really get to practice. We come here, we meditate, we look deeply, we listen, and then we get to bring this practice out. We get to bring it to life in our everyday experiences. I think that's such a miraculous thing. For anyone who isn't familiar, I highly recommend the book Awareness by Anthony DeMello. It's a short book. It's a small book. Anthony DeMello was a Jesuit priest. So he has a Catholic background, but he grew up in India, so he's culturally Indian. And so he's been able to blend that cultural part of who he is and the Hindu and Buddhism that was in his environment with this really beautiful Catholic mysticism. He's got a really great perspective, and that particular book is excellent. So if you're just curious about a different perspective. Remember, friends, that we've got all kinds of things happening in Soul Center to help you curate your own journey of recovery. So check out our website, which Lo has listed in the chat. Our email's there if you have any questions or concerns. You can let us know if you want to make a donation. We are so grateful for that. There's a donation jar in the back of the room if that's available as well. And don't forget, these are recorded, so you get to go back and listen to them. Everything but the community shares, so you have access to these 24/7. And remember, friends, we'll be here on Thanksgiving Day, 10:30 in the morning. So you'll be able to sneak away and practice with us. And I really appreciated what you said today, too, about, some people just don't understand. And what Lo was saying, so, we get together with our family and they have they have their own preconceived ideas and stories. And sometimes, the best thing we can do is just practice wise silence and make space for people to be where they are and to just bow to that. I see you where you are, and it's different from where I am. May we both have ease. Something. It's just beautiful. Friends, with that, let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. Very tenderly shared with us that awareness that she gets to share her time with her mom as her mom is entering this end stage of life where we're all walking too. Ram Dass said it best, we're all walking each other home. And yet, in the absence of our loved ones, when they have gone ahead, their light is within us. So we honor our beloved dead best by learning to better live. So we renunciate substances. We try to understand our relationship to all the ways we cultivate habit energy. We try to offer ourselves loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, this for the healing of the whole world. May the light you seek turn you inward. May the light you seek turn you outward. May you have great ease going in and looking out, going in and looking out. And may that looking resonate with the breath, the miracle of life, breathing in, breathing out. A simple yet profound way to celebrate the miracle and the luminescence of your life. Thank you so much for your beautiful practice. We'll see you next time. Namaste.